as you said, you're going to get the win with the TKO finish, and now you're the first two-time heavyweight champion in the UFC. And considering that you had sort of upset UFC plans once before when you finished Vitor Belfort, their poster boy, this has got to feel good after that contract dispute to come back and win the thing again. Is this like a crowning achievement? Is this like, hey, let's stick it up their keister sort of deal? I showed you type of thing.
Well, I didn't really have that attitude about it, but I definitely, after finally giving up on the Olympic aspirations and retiring early that summer, was now able to just dedicate and focus 100% on going out and being a world champion. When I rolled into that title fight with Mo Smith, I had never set out to be a world champion. It was just this new sport that I saw other wrestlers doing that I wanted to try. And lo and behold, in 7 months, I'm fighting for a world championship. It just kind of happened. So it was a little overwhelming. It was like, man, what the heck just happened? Now I'm very focused to set the goal to look, no, I'm going to win that title back. So certainly a sense of accomplishment to get back in, get another title shot, to beat a guy as formidable as Kevin, to win the titles. Definitely felt like I had achieved the goal and something I set out to achieve.
Well, the UFC is a lot of upheaval at this point, due for buying them out before the next time you do a UFC show. So in the meantime, you return to Japan and rings. When do you meet with the Faridas and Dana White to hear what they have planned for the UFC?
Yeah, that's an interesting story because that December, after I beat Kevin, I was in Japan. I was cornering Dan Henderson and Matt Lindland. Was over there for a few weeks right before Christmas. I was looking for new management. I walked away from Rico and Lou. There was a lot of headbutting going on between them as to who was running the show. And me and Danny decided it was time to move on and get some other representation. I signed with a group called Battle Management, which was Jeremy Lappin and Peter Levin. But I had also talked to Dana White because at that time, Dana White was representing Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz as their manager. I had sat down with him while I was in Japan, talked to him about representing me as well as a potential, manager. I'd also met with Jeremy and Peter Levin with Battle Management. I hadn't made a decision yet. And then Dana called me after we met. And he said, look, there's big things happening. You're going to like what's going on, but I'm not going to be able to manage you. And I said, oh, that's, I appreciate you calling me, but I'd already kind of signed with these other guys. But thanks. And I'll be watching out to see what's coming down the pike. And sure enough, that February, the Fertittas and Dana White bought the company from Bob Meyerowitz and SEG. Now, right away, they took a bunch of their top guys and they started this ad campaign with Carmen Electra, kind of trying to mainstream the sport, change the image of the sport, make it a legitimate sporting event, not this kind of sideshow or freak show that it had become. And they ran towards regulation, towards unified rules. That previous year, with SEG at the helm, Larry Hazard out of New Jersey at the Athletic Commission in New Jersey developed unified rules that they started promoting to all the boxing commissions across the country. So, it was, again, a bit of the wild, wild west. There were underground shows and stuff going on everywhere, but the rules of engagement were different depending on where you went. Even what was going on in Pride in Japan at that time, or Shuto and Pancrase in Japan at that time, each one of those organizations had different rules and different rules of engagement. And these unified rules kind of leveled the playing field. Everybody was kind of made it a legitimate sport. These are the rules. This is what we do. And then they kept tweaking that. Every time there was a show, it seemed the rules would change just a little bit. But the Fertittas had the savvy and the pocketbook to really revamp the sport and push it out into the mainstream as a legitimate sport instead of this pay-per-view freak show that it had been up to that point. And they deserve credit for that. They definitely had some vision.